Here is the best wildcard team you can find on YouTube. Let's get into it.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game, where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top, guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wildcards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
Good day, mate. Welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Roo, and welcome back to another FPL video. So in today's video, we'll be looking at the Game Week 13 wildcard draft. So I know a few of you, like myself, still have your wildcard in your back pocket. This is the best team you're going to be able to build. There is some budget, around 2 million from my team. So I'm sure most of you have a better team value than me. So I'm sure you can make a few upgrades, and I will be going through them as I go through the players. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you do subscribe and smash a like on this video too. And we'll get started. So in goal, the two goalkeepers. I've gone with Areola, a goalkeeper that I think will keep his place at West Ham. He seems to be the number one. And although West Ham have been, what's the word, shocking defensively this season, I think for his price, 4.3 million, I think you can't really argue with that. And you're looking at getting... If you're looking at someone that's going to be a bit more probability of clean sheets, you're looking at paying closer to 5 million. So for me, I don't think that money is well spent. You could, don't get me wrong, you could upgrade. But for me at 4.3 million, I think West Ham surely have to turn things around. They have to tighten up in defence. And Areola is going to look like a real great option when that does happen, as he is 4.3 million. He's owned by 37% of people as well, so it's quite highly owned for a cheap goalkeeper. And I think surely West Ham are going to have to start tightening up and keeping clean sheets soon, and especially with their fixtures, which is one of the main reasons I've gone for Areola. So Burnley away, they scored against Arsenal last time out, so who knows what could happen there, but you got to fancy West Ham to keep a clean sheet. Palace at home, we know Palace have been struggling to score. Yes, they did score a couple of goals this game week just gone, but for me, I wouldn't think of Palace as a threatening team, and especially away from home, I wouldn't think of them as a threatening team. Spurs away, which will be tough. I do fancy Spurs to score in that game, but you've also got the clean sheet, the save points available for Areola for that game, where Spurs are going to be peppering their goal. Also, who knows with Spurs at the moment, if they don't replace kind of Maddison's creativity, then that could not be as hard a game as it may seem on paper at the moment. Then they've got Fulham away as well. So we know how bad Fulham have been this season. So for me, some really, really good fixtures coming up. They do turn from game week 18 when they have Man United, Arsenal, Brighton. But even after that, they look really, really good. So Areola's in the team. For the goalkeeper, for now, I've put Strakosha, the Brentford goalkeeper. So he did come on for Flecken last time out at half time because I think Flecken picked up an injury. Flecken did get his place back, so I wouldn't say he's kind of a player that is going to be starting. You do have a bit of budget in this team, though, to go up to a playing goalkeeper if you do want to. There are obviously some options out there around the 4.5 million price point. Turner is no longer an option. Turner has lost his place, which is a bummer. But for me, I'd rather just save the money. I know Areola is going to be starting week in, week out. Yes, in tough games, you're going to have to probably deal with no clean sheet, but West Ham are a team that can turn things around and can keep clean sheets against anyone. So I'm kind of banking on that and not having a substitute goalkeeper. But albeit that, don't get me wrong, you could absolutely go for Flecken or even Edison if you can afford them. But for me, I'd rather just one main goalkeeper. I don't have to worry about the benching headaches. In the defence, I'd say a similar defence to what a lot of people have. Mark Gahey is a player I've got in my team already. Luton at home, Luton away next up. Then he's got West Ham away. So 2 away games. Obviously, Luton is a really, really good game to have, but it is away from home, which is I guess not the best. But I do fancy Palace to keep a clean sheet in that Luton game. Then they have Bournemouth at home, so really good fixture. And then they have a few tough games where they have from game week 16 onwards. They have Liverpool, City away, Brighton, Chelsea, Brentford, Arsenal. So some really, really tough games there. But for the next 3 game weeks, I'm happy to have Mark Gahey in the team. Also, we've got Saliba. So Brentford away next up, which is again not the easiest game, but their fixtures following that do look really, really good. Wolves at home, Luton away, Villa away, Brighton at home, then they got Liverpool. So tail off towards the end, but I do fancy Arsenal to keep clean sheet in them home games, especially against Wolves, against Brighton as well. To be honest, I don't think Brighton will cause any threat to Arsenal the way they're playing at the moment. And you got to fancy them to get a clean sheet against Luton as well. Next up, it is a bit of a risky pick, and because this wild card is a little bit later than everyone else, I feel like you have to go a little bit risky with some of the players you're putting in. You can't really go for the players that everyone else has already. Obviously you can, but I think these are the chances to get the little odd different player that people are going to struggle to get in, or are not even going to be thinking about getting because they're going to be waiting and seeing. Playing the wild card in Game Week 13, you have the 2-week break before it restarts after the international break to wait and see and getting players that might be fit that weren't fit in game week 12. So Estupinan is one of them. Yes, he came back in the Europa League, then he came off injured, then he didn't feature in the squad in Brighton's game week 12 fixture against Sheffield United at home. So not the ideal situation, but I think now he's got 2 weeks to get fit, to maybe even play a game in the international break. And the fixtures do look good for Brighton still. Yes, the defense is shocking. No clean sheets this season. But with Estupinan, you're relying on the attacking returns. And this season, I feel like clean sheets are hard to come by. So I think trying to focus on attacking defenders is probably the best bet. Although I haven't really gone that way with this team. Saliba, we've seen on just the weekend just gone, he can score goals as well. And Mark Gahey does pop up with a few in the season. But yeah, so Estupinan, Forest away, Chelsea away. Okay. Brentford at home, Burnley at home, Arsenal away, and Palace away. So I'd say a mixed bag, but with Estupinan, his attacking threat is incredible from left back. Also, the Europa League will be kind of ending in a few weeks, which means the group stage is done. So Brighton will go through to the next round, which is not until February. So I think that happens around mid to early December. So for me, I think Estupinan is going to be a guaranteed start out if he is fit. But that is one to definitely keep an eye on over the international break. On the bench currently, we've got Harry Maguire. So again, if Estupinan doesn't feature, Maguire is good enough to come in with Everton away in game week 13. Yes, a couple tough games after that. Newcastle away, Chelsea at home. Then they've got Bournemouth away, and then a couple tough games after that as well. So it is definitely a rotation option. But with being at 4.3 million, I think you can absolutely bench Maguire and not feel kind of two ways about it. Lascelles is another player on the bench. Again, very, very cheap. I got him for 3.9 million. He's now 4.1. But with Chelsea at home, Man United at home in the next two, not the best fixtures, but I wouldn't say they're the worst fixtures, especially Man United at the moment. They're struggling to score goals. Yes, they've been winning. I think they're the most informed team in the league over the last 5 game weeks, but in terms of scoring goals, they're not the best at the moment. But after that, they have Everton away. Then they've got Spurs away. Then they've got Fulham, Luton, and Forest. So some really good fixtures there. Hopefully, Botman, well, not hopefully for Botman's sake, but hopefully the Lascelles can stay in the team if Botman does carry on being injured. But yeah, I feel like you have a few options there in defence. Let's get on to the midfield. So for the midfield, you could argue that it might be a little bit template, but I am disagreeing with that. It does have some popular players. You have Bowen. First up, we'll talk about Bowen. So 28% owned, which is high, but it's not high. 7.6% owned million, which is a really, really good price. First up, you've got Burnley away, as mentioned with Areola, Sheffield United, Crystal Palace at home, Spurs away, Fulham away, and Wolves at home. So some really good fixtures there for Bowen. He did play number 9 last time out in game week 12 as well. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a common thing, but if he does carry on playing that position, that would be incredible to have a player that is 7.6 million with them fixtures on fire this season. Will be an absolute steal. Next up is probably the I'd say the differential of the midfield at the moment. So we've got Eze in, so he's just come back from injury. He's got a couple of returns already. 6.1 million, 3.5% owned, which is incredible considering how high his ownership was at the start of the season. Luton away first time out. Then they've got West Ham, Bournemouth. Then they've got two tough games. Well, four tough games really. Liverpool, City, Brighton, Chelsea, Brentford, and Arsenal. So quite a lot of tough games, but you can probably take him out after game week 15. So this is kind of a 3 game week punt. Even then, Eze can do it against anyone. So if you have to keep him for Liverpool at home, then it's not the end of the world. But probably be looking to take him out around game week 16, which then you can probably bring in a few Brentford midfielders or even a City midfielder if you have the cash. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on when we get to Buemo. So Saka's in the team, 8.6 million now. Saka's been an interesting one this season. So he hasn't set the world alight, but he has chipped away consistently with the assists, with the goals. I heard a stat about him the other day that he's scored or assisted against every Premier League team he's ever played against, which is incredible. Obviously, that's not in one season, but over the course of the 4 seasons he's been playing, or however many seasons he's playing, yeah, which is an incredible stat. Like I said, though, his points haven't been amazing. To be honest, he hasn't scored since game week 7, which is a little bit worrying, but he's got 3 assists since then. And yeah, he's very consistent. And for me, he's kind of a must-have in this team, especially with Odegaard now being injured and penalties presumably in Saka's pocket. The fixtures, though, Brentford away, really good one considering how tough game week 13 is for some of the other big teams. So Liverpool have City, City have Liverpool, Chelsea have Newcastle, Villa have Spurs, Spurs have Villa as well. So some really, really tough games there. So for me, I do feel like the Arsenal player against Brentford away is not the end of the world. Then they do have Wolves at home, Luton away after that. So some really, really good fixtures there. And Buemo, so I'd say this is a week early, a week premature getting him. But again, it's not the end of the world. A lot of people are going to be waiting for game week 14 to get him in. But hopefully, if you get him in early, he can perform against Arsenal at home. And it's not the worst, I guess, fixture to have him in, but it is going to be tough for Brentford to get a result in that game. But after that, they do have Luton at home, so you've got him there secured. Other people might be planning to get him in game week 14, but there's other fires to put out, so they have to kind of delay that. So you're going to guarantee have him in for game week 14. And they've got Brentford, Sheffield United, Villa, Wolves, Palace, Nottingham Forest. Really good run. And then in there, they're going to have a double game week in game week 19. So they do blank though in game week 18. So that is something to take into consideration. So you're going to want basically Brentford players up until game week 17 because their fixtures are really good, and then after in game week 19 because they will have a double game week and they have really good fixtures. So maybe don't load up on Brentford players, and Man City's in the same situation as well, so don't load up on them. But for the current moment, I would say that they do look really, really good for the next few game weeks at least. Salah is a must-have for me. 12.9 million now, 45% owned. So still not up there with the likes of Haaland in terms of ownership. Ownership is even less than Saka, which is incredible. For me, he is been so consistent this season. Goals, assists. Even last time out, he got the 2 goals, which was great, as I did have him captain. And yes, he's got Man City away, but we know Salah can do it against anyone. After that, the fixtures look really good for Liverpool. So Fulham at home, Sheffield United away, Palace away. Really, really good games there. And I do fancy Salah to score loads of goals in them games, and even the potential captain option over them next 3 as well. So we'll talk about Haaland in the next bit. But City have Villa in game week 14. City have Spurs in game week 14, whereas Salah has Fulham at home. City also have Villa away, which is not the tough. Like, it's tough, but it's with Villa's home form at the moment, it is very, very tough. But it's probably not tough for Haaland and City. But in game week 15, you could argue that Sheffield United away for Salah is a better captain option too. So Salah, incredible, gives you another option if Haaland does have a tricky fixture, even though the last 2 game weeks have shown that Man United away and Chelsea away, he scored 2 goals and yeah, absolutely smashed it. So yeah, make of that one what you will, and we'll move on to the forwards. So for the forwards, Haaland, I think, is a must-have. The tough fixtures are slowly coming to an end now, even though he's absolutely smashed it in them tough fixtures. 14 million, 82.5% owned. So not the heights of the 95% as he got early on in the season, but a lot of people did sell him before these tough fixtures, and they were wrong. So bad luck on them, I guess. Liverpool at home next up, which doesn't even phase me at the moment. Yes, Liverpool are a solid team at home, but I think away from home they do concede goals. So I think that's a good fixture for Haaland. Spurs at home, which again without Romero, that will be without Van der Ven, is going to be a good fixture for City, and I think there will be goals in that game. And Ange with 9 men, he kept a high line. So for me, I think he's going to keep a high line in this game, and I'm a bit worried for Spurs is well-being and their them goal difference in that game. But I do think Spurs can do Man City damage too, so I think that will be a good game with lots of goals. Villa away up next, and then they've got an incredible run in from game week 16 to come a game week 20, but they do have a blank game week in game week 18. But without the blank, they've got Luton away, Palace at home, Everton away, Sheffield United at home. So that's why a lot of people have been thinking about a free hit in game week 18, as City and Brentford have great fixtures either side, so you can load up on them. And then they will have a double game week post game week 18 too. So that is why a lot of people have been thinking about the free hit in that for that reason. For someone that's playing a wild card now, I think you can afford to have a couple, maybe one City, one Brentford option, and then afford to kind of take them out or bench them, because you can build your bench to be solid, to be useful, to be honest, is the word I'm looking for, before that blank game week. So that is a benefit of playing a wild card in this game week. Solanke gets a spot, maybe a little bit knee-jerk, but I think the next 3 fixtures are incredible for him. So Sheffield United away, Villa at home, Palace away. Then after that, they've got Man United away, which who knows? Luton at home, Forest away, and Fulham at home. So some of the best fixtures out there, especially Sheffield United. Okay, Palace away is tough. Luton at home, Forest away, Fulham at home. So really, really good fixtures up to kind of game week 20, where they do have Spurs, Liverpool, West Ham in a row, which is not the best. But Solanke has shown he can score goals in this league, and I think he'll continue to do so. On the bench, we've got Archer, a player that probably won't play a lot, but he can be useful for you if you do decide to not free hit in game week 18, and you can play Archer and bench Mbeumo or bench Haaland, etc. So Bournemouth at home, Burnley away in the next 2. So you could even play him in the next 2, to be honest. They're really, really good fixtures, but I'm just not too sure who you'd bench. Maybe you could bench Mbeumo against Arsenal at home, but for me, yeah, I wouldn't do that. But you could. That was it for this video. So just to wrap up though, I still have my wild card. I won't be playing it in this game week. I think my team is strong enough to go through the next few game weeks. I'm kind of aiming to play it in game week 19. So I will be loading kind of up on City and Brentford players, taking them out for game week 18. So maybe having 2 transfers in that game week, taking out Haaland, maybe taking out Mbeumo, and then bringing them back in game week 19. That's my plan for the wild card. Leave a comment below. Have you used your wild card, or when will you be using it? Please like the video too and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.